Hello and welcome to the Tim Johnson Show, located in Grand Blanc, Michigan. My name is Tim Johnson, and I'm here with a very, very, very special guest of mine, Mr. Hubert Roberts. He's a community activist, and we got some things that he would like to discuss today to let the people in the community know about. So, welcome, sir. How have you been since this?
Well, thank you so much, Brother Tim, to invite me. You know, this is a wonderful time, and especially at this time that we're dealing with this COVID-19.
Right.
You know, as we move forward, there's some things that we really can do in our community.
Right.
Where a lot of times we feel hopeless.
Right.
Well, one of the goals today, we want to talk about community and being hopeful.
Right.
What does that really look like? And I like to use the model to some degree that people can identify to some degree is, if we use the Regency complex as an example for what community, if you did a microcosm of what a family or what a community could look like, and how do we address some of the systemic and institutional issues that we have in certain communities.
Right.
And again, it goes back to value and resources. So what I do in the school system, I'm a mentor, right? So I'm a mentor specialist.
Right.
One of the engagements that we have been a part of is, how do we in turn give our young people hopeful energy and hopeful information where they feel valued.
Right.
So a lot of times it can be simply, how you doing this morning? Or greeting students as they come in off the bus in the morning. We greet them as they walking into the school to help to give them a sense of purpose, direction in life, right? That small hello, how you doing? I'm proud of you. I love you. A lot of times our children don't hear that, even from their own families.
Right. Let me say this. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Roberts has been extremely engaged in the community in Flint, in the Flint school system. I've actually been to several of the things that he's been involved in, actually at the school and greeting the students. And I tell you, he gave classes on even as simple as how to tie a tie, but he is so engaged in the making sure that our youth become active and productive adults. I tell you, actually, I don't know anybody else in the Flint area that has taken the depth of what you've taken to make sure that our kids had a chance at life. You know, and I mean, even from like, well, you mentioned the Regency. You know, they might not always come from the best places, but you've always made sure that you had a voice somewhere. Matter of fact, everybody knows you. And if I mention you, oh yeah, I know him. Oh yeah, he's this. I tell you, you're very well respected in the Flint community.
Well, I received that, but one of the things, even when you're saying that, is because one of the things that we're trying to do, how do I spark the mind or spark the brain or spark the change?
Right.
I have to be about it.
That's
just
true.
like you. Okay, any of us, if we're engaging in any kind of actions, it's saying, okay, I value this action.
Right.
So if I value this action and I value these other human beings, then I'm going to treat them accordingly. And why I bring up Regency, because I'm working with some families out there now. Even during this time, we're still doing some things to try to help to continue to teach and educate, to be an example. Because a lot of times our children are tactile learners, right? So that means that they learn physically. They have to move. And so one of the things that we're engaging some of the parents that we're working with is, we're trying to mimic what proper parenting. There's no book on parenting, but some of the models and information that we use is some basic things about just self-respect. Okay, so if we're saying, I use Regency. So some of the things we're trying to change, some of the vernacular, some of the verbiage, like Regency condos. So if we change the name to Regency condos as opposed to projects, that right there means something too, right? So we did a little simple test. We brought out some 8-foot tables. And we said we were going to have teaching family classes. We brought some tables out, put them right out there in the parking lot, and went over just some bit. Now we went door to door, again, being bold. Knocked on doors. We having a family conversation today. Would you be willing to come out? And a lot of times, even some of the young men looking around, looking hard again. And because I come from some of that background, I know some of the looks, and I know some of the behavior and some of the swag. And
you know how to read it.
So it's not like I'm coming in to save today. It's saying that I believe in you.
Exactly.
So a lot of times when we show even people that are suffering, a lot of times I'm suffering because I don't know. Most people don't want to be poor.
That's true.
But like you said earlier, when you have resources that have been designed or that have been used to go to different places,
right.
and then it can be manipulated to go to somewhere else.
Right.
And if I don't know what I should know as far as from a city,
right.
meaning local, because
right.
power is local.
True.
So there's some things we need to do locally
right.
by tightening ourselves up.
Right.
And I keep going back to Regency because I use that as an example about how in that small area you can, I believe in a year or 2 years time, it can change that community
right.
because of the engagement that could take place.
True.
Because most of the young people out there have not had some of the best
That's true.
parents or grandparents
That's true.
to teach them.
That's true.
And a lot of times when we get a little income, and that's something that I'm really concerned about, a lot of times when some of us get a little income, we have a tendency to run.
Right.
And what we're trying to say is reinvest back into your community.
Right.
Because
right.
even if you look at the north side of Flint,
right.
when you think about subsidies and you think about government subsidies,
right.
those loans or those grants go to different environments.
It's true.
Or different institutional
right.
or different private and public organizations
right.
or institutions
right.
that are able to define or stimulate their economy.
Right.
So if we're saying we want to stimulate the north side,
right.
then there's some dollars that have to be earmarked for the north
That's true.
side.
That's
so
true.
Again, when we talk about earmarking dollars that's
right.
going to go for an intended purpose,
right, right.
and again, following through what that purpose is.
Right.
And again, how do we make that happen? We have to have leadership, meaning from the local level.
That's true.
And the level that's going to be engaged at the White House
That's
or
true.
at the Capitol level, meaning when you're dealing with local, then Lansing, and then the government, because a lot of times we're dealing with people that have some of the information
right.
and not willing to share the other information.
That's true.
And then sometimes locally you can have different pockets of people that are saying, well, we're going to lobby for this reason.
Right, right.
Or we're going to lobby for that reason.
Right, right.
The Red Hat Club started with 2 older women. AARP started with 4 people.
Okay.
So you look what they have
right,
came and
right.
developed into today.
Right.
So when we're looking at our community right now, with some of the basic, going over some of the basic information about reading
right.
and writing and being competent.
Right.
Okay, that takes time. And again, when you're engaging, and what we have done it, we've set out in Regency in chairs,
right.
and we are working with students or children that can't read.
Right.
Not running from them, not being embarrassed or being ashamed.
That's true.
And again, that's what we're trying to help
right.
with, to encourage these children to feel good. I don't know, and I don't understand, but if we keep showing up, because I'm not going to say that it was easy.
True.
And that it's easy now. A lot of the pushback has been, you ain't my daddy.
Yeah, yep. I've heard that before.
Okay.
Yep.
And because you're dealing with a community that have not had the resources, I try not to dwell on the past and the brokenness
right.
in that. I understand
right.
that the past is real.
Right.
What I'm saying is, how do we use the past to create a different tomorrow?
Yep, yep.
And I think connecting the pandemic is a great opportunity, because now we got to reinvent ourselves.
Also being part of the solution and not the problem. I tell you, with your mindset, if we had just several more individuals that had the caring attitude that you have, and the relationship that you have established with some of the kids that would probably pretty much be lost if not getting the right kind of information to them, or someone who actually cares about their growth. Man, I tell you, this city, and we're in bad condition right now. We really are. With the water crisis, we just walked out of that, and that really just we took a hurt from that with our youth, and now we walked into this COVID-19 situation, and we're still in the water crisis actually, you know.
Right.
But we have caring individuals like yourself that pretty much with the right type of sponsoring and people actually believing in you and what you're trying to do.
Right.
Man, we can move mountains.
Because myself and you, we can't do it alone.
No, we can't.
So
no.
what it is about sparking the mind and
there you
sparking
go.
the change is I want to shout out Mr. Moore, Urban Cowboys,
okay.
and along with involved dad, Mr. Sean Hart. When
okay.
you think about the element of really impact.
Right.
So if I'm saying to you, Mr. Johnson, I got this idea.
Right.
So you listen to my idea. And if you see that it's sound,
right.
you're saying, I'm willing to be a part of it, right? And a lot of times when we're dealing with our local city council or our congressmen or senators, and again, we got to look at it. So if other community members can lobby to have congressmen and senators to make sure they articulate their concerns, why not ours?
There you go.
And when you're dealing with communities that not so much with, even before the water, when in the 60s when General Motors decided to leave, that was the time to really do some rethinking out of the box.
And it didn't happen, but that's true. Didn't happen. That's true. You're right.
Real talk.
You're right. That's real talk. You're
right. Because one time Flint was a model city.
Yes, it was.
People came from all over the world.
All over the world.
For the education, for the housing, and everything.
Everything. Yes.
And so when you think about, and that's why history is so important. Most of the people I deal with don't know any of that history.
Don't know nothing about it.
And that's intentional. Because if you don't know or don't have the knowledge, then I can continue to lie to you or manipulate you. Where you're going to act in emotion.
There you go.
One thing that we're trying to do with our community that's less fortunate is how to change some of the behavior with emotions. So if I can impact you about your emotions and where that comes from. I'm not saying your emotions not real. I'm saying how do we redirect it?
I know exactly what
because instead of getting mad at me
over
a dope sale, let's be honest.
There you go.
Because when you think about a community, and back with your law enforcement, when you can understand communities have been devastated intentionally.
True.
So what is the marketable environment for people to sustain themselves? So is that the responsibility just for the people that has no clue, have no resources, have no connection? What are they going to do? They're going to feed on themselves like rats.
There you go.
So when General Motors pulled out, their responsibility was real to this community. And they, to this day, they should not be let off the hook.
No, they shouldn't be. No, not at all.
Because that's real talk. Because you can't have downtown or DDA booming and the north side or the east side or the west side
is such a disadvantage.
Even if you look at Grand Blanc, you look at the tremendous amount of building that's going on in Grand Blanc. That should be on the north side. Why not?
Right.
But again, how do we articulate that back to the emotions?
True.
If we can get our community to start thinking outside of the box, meaning collective thought. So if I'm saying that using the Regency, how do we eliminate crime in the Regency? So those are some things, door to door, family to family, person to person, that we can eliminate. Because if I'm valued, then I'm not gonna disappoint Mr. Johnson.
And I tell you, a lot of it too is with the people that we place in the office. I don't want to get on that topic too much, but you know, the people who's in the places like our city council, and Genesee County commissioners and all that good stuff. Those people is the ones who actually we put them there to make decisions for us on a larger scale. And I tell you,
because let me stop you there. Because let me keep that thought. Those people, council, commission, senators, congressmen.
There you go.
It's about resources.
There you go.
They go get the resources to come back, Mr. Johnson.
There you go.
So if you're saying that I'm just going to go after these resources for this group. And then we have no lobbying body for this group that are really hurting.
Case in point. Where have they been to bring the resources into those areas that's really hurting? And it's not this ain't no race thing. We're talking about all Fenton Road in Flint. Look at how that area over there went down. The east side, same thing. And now it's on the south side where it's starting to really deteriorate. So where have they been? Where have they been?
Okay, and see, when you said that, that's a good marker for us to stop at, because again, historically, if we were really honest, Brother Johnson, at one time in our society when it was segregated, communities of color was insulated and they owned everything in their community. So when you just said that we have to be honest about what's going on in our society, because racism, bigotry is real. But when you say value, so if I'm saying across racial lines and cultural lines, if I'm saying that I value as a human being, I wouldn't run up to Lansing, talking about rush to open up a community or a state that we're ill prepared because of the virus. This virus don't have no respect for who you are.
That's true.
And it's about us we got to mitigate and minimize all of us being infected. Because again, when you think about it, the Aztecs and the Mayans, these over 3,000 years ago, even to this day, they saying, well, how did these groups of people disappeared.
Right.
And one of the reasons that some of the scientists and anthropologists came up with was a pandemic got into the maize.
That's true.
Maize is a form of corn.
Yep.
So in Latin America, there's document where there was some form of pandemic that happened.
Right.
Those cultures were vanished.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, well, they like vanished out of out of the air. But no, there was something in, and that's how in society when history is so important, because we're supposed to learn from the Mayans.
True.
From the Olmecs, from the Aztecs.
Right.
We're supposed to learn when things happen in our genome or in our biology that we're supposed to be able to shut things down. If something happened overseas, because some of the information for NATO had part of this mission was they had set up from the CIA programs around the world to be on the front line for when any of those Ebola, SARS, anything that come up before it came to America. So when the new administration came in, shut down all those programs. Go back to resources. Right.
You know, I'm almost ready to say this is a conversation that really we need to get some of those maybe senators and politicians in here and discuss it with them to start giving them a different type of direction or mindset to look at what's going on in our community, because you can't stay in this type of situation. And Flint been in this for years. I remember when I first got here in 1985. The economy was going down then, and it just continued on a downward spiral. And look at what we're at now.
Right.
You know, so somebody got to come step up and start bringing these questions to the powers to be, who can make a change and start holding them accountable.
Hold them accountable. That's what it is about, holding people accountable. If you look at right now, the farm subsidy is $64 billion for the farm subsidy. Y'all have seen it on the news. How do you have a country that's throwing away food when food banks don't have no food?
Exactly.
And again, that's why the World Powers Act is so important, because what it would do is the farmers say, well, we can't pasteurize it, right? Because we have no workers.
Right.
So if you convert it where you got the military to step up, because that's the purpose of the military, to make this stuff happen. You don't supposed to throw no food away.
That's true.
Not in this country.
Not in this country.
And again, it goes back to leadership. And a lot of times when you are told a lie, and we are so constant fighting over racism.
There you go.
If you can keep you distracted, right?
Yes, yes.
So I'm going to keep you over here fighting this fight.
Yes.
As opposed to the big fight is how we can work together where we can all feel valued.
That's another whole conversation, especially in our county right now, what's going on in our county. But let me say this. I tell you, you a deep brother. I love your thought process, and we need to have you back on the show.
I think one of the things we can really work on is how we can do it ongoing. What I have in mind is how we can our community. Right. Since now we got to reinvent ourselves through this medium, now how we can collectively come together and say, okay, well, 4 or 5 people can agree with this platform that's going to help with 5 or 10 others. And then we can collectively say, well, okay, we're gonna monetize ourselves to say if we're going to collectively buy corn or buy beans, how we can do it together, how we can pool our resources. Because even when you're dealing with the politicians, again, by holding them accountable for them to tell the truth, it would be like, okay, yeah, you're right. I didn't know that, or I wasn't aware that those dollars had been averted or diverted to go into this over here or that over there.
Well, you know, our listening audience is going to have to see that this is going to be a continuation.
Yes.
So I do want to thank Mr. Roberts for coming on the show today. I do want to say thank you, sir. I tell you, we need more people like you in our community to seriously stand up, and you might want to think about running for public office. All jokes aside, that's no joke. He's very well engaged in what's going on in our community. So thank you, sir, and God bless you.
Can I close out with this?
Yes,
and
sir.
Again, for our audience, all we are asking for all of us to come together. Yes. We can't do this without one another.
That's true.
I, Mr. Johnson, the technicians behind the camera, we all got to start believing in ourselves.
That's
and
true.
This COVID-19 is a perfect opportunity for us to really start working together and start building a better tomorrow.
That's true.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, viewers, for watching the show. Everybody have a blessed day.